y'all? It's Russell back with Gwinnett Lawns in beautiful. Look at that cloudless sky, Atlanta, Georgia. It's not even 7 a.m. yet, and I wanted to do a quick video before I get started. You got the sun coming up over there. It's going to be a beautiful day here in Atlanta, and I got the sweatshirt on again. It's probably low 60s again, but it is going to be like 95 or so. So I wanted to kind of, if there's a title to this video, it's going to be, can you achieve route density at higher prices? Everybody wants route density. That is the holy grail of lawn care. And it's obvious, because if you don't have to move your truck, if you can get a bunch of yards in a row, you're going to be more efficient and you have the potential to be more profitable. So I had done a video about how I do yards for max profit, and I wanted the point of that video to be how to kind of figure out where your max profit is in your specific area. I don't like giving prices just because this area may be unique. This county that I live in has more than 1 million people. It's one of the fastest growing counties in Georgia, Gwinnett, obviously, and it's solid metropolis. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of neighborhoods to choose from. There's a ton of landscapers here, but it's definitely not oversaturated. So if you want to come to Atlanta and make some good money, come on, because I turn so many estimates down a week because I can't do it all. But I wanted the point of that video to kind of give you some tools to be able to price your lawns and find where the upper market is in wherever you live, right? So there's a lot of places that are not going to be able to get, because I had an $89 minimum. I actually raised it. My minimum now is $99, and people are probably like, there is no possible way. I'm telling you, your minimum may be a lot lower, and that's fine, okay? These are pretty big yards that I do. This this is just typical, and I'm gonna let you guys see real quick. I mean, I have a huge backyard, and this is typical. This is a small backyard. You know, there's a lot of grass here to cut. But anyway, I have yards that are a lot bigger than this. And the fact that I can get 89 or 99, I have yards that are $150. But most, like my minimum right now, as of today, is $99. And I'm gonna explain how that's possible. Because I think the takeaway has to be not focus on how much, $100, how is that possible? But the takeaway has to be, what is it in your market, in your area? So I am not in growth mode anymore. That's the first thing, right? If you're just starting out, or you have like, I think his name's Clay with Green Acres. He just did a video I watched this morning. He made some really good points. I believe Clay, you said your minimum was $50, and he's over in, I believe it's Auburn, Alabama, or somewhere near there. And he was talking about how, you know, it'd be impossible for him to get those prices and have good route density. He showed he had like 3 in a row. I think they were $50 each, and did it maybe 30-45 minutes, so he made $150. And so in his area, that would not be possible. I can understand that. If people are used, and I'm going to tell you this, there is nobody around here that's only going to charge $50 for, like, I think pretty much the minimum bottom of the barrel around here is almost 70, like 65 or 70 bucks for this yard. Now for this yard my yard, these yards would be 99. And let me tell you why I had to test, right? So I used to do these yards for 49 bucks. My schedule was slam pack. I had 100% success rate on getting my estimates closed, 100% rate. And I thought that, hey, this is really good, right? So I couldn't do any more yards. I was by myself. I was solo, but I'm doing it full time, and I'm working myself to death. And I had a couple customers move, which opened a little bit of area. And I talked to one of the landscapers that I saw, which I try to do all the time if I see him in the neighborhood. And he told me, I think he was charging like 60 bucks. And I'm like, for the same size yard. So I was thinking, I'm like, well, these next couple of yards, let me see if I can put the estimate higher. So my price is always into 9. I don't know, I just settled on that a long time ago. So I went from 49, and I was nervous. I said, I'm gonna do these at 59, the estimates, and I still got 100% success rate with closing the estimate. So with attrition and customers and stuff like that, I tweaked my route a little bit. I became more efficient so I could do a couple more yards a day. And I was like, well, I'm gonna try 69. So I did that, and maybe it dropped to like 90%. And then what I did was I started raising the prices on the $49 yards and bringing them up. How many customers did I lose? 0. Now that doesn't mean that price point is going to work for you. You have to find exactly what works in your certain area. So keep in mind that I have a full schedule. I had a ton of yards in my own neighborhood, which is great. I have 85 houses here, and I would like to have all 85 of these houses. And I'll get to that in just a minute. So I kept going up and up and up. And since I am no longer in growth mode, I'm like, well, I only have a certain amount of hours per day that I can work. So I want to maximize the profit. And I do really good work, and I just kept going up because I'm still testing the market. I don't know if I'm at the upper limit. Probably I am in the top, I'm going to say the top 5%. There's people that charge more than me that do this, right? Not a lot, but I'm going to say I'm in the top 5% for our county. Now, am I missing some estimates by not getting them approved? Absolutely. However, here's the key point. I don't want to get but 40, maybe about 40% of my estimates approved, because I'm not in growth mode. If I had a bunch of guys that worked with me and I wanted to open a new route, and I would lower my prices. So I'm going to give you another secret. If I wanted to come in here and try to get all the, I'm going to give you, this is an extreme example. If I knocked on all these doors right now and I told them I would do their yard for $5, $5, I would put every single one of the landscapers out of here. I would get probably all 85 houses, people that even did their own yard. They'd say, yeah, for $5, of course. So that's an extreme example. If I came in here and said, I'll do these yards for $150 each, I would get 0. So the balance is somewhere in between there. Now, I know from talking to people that in here, a lot of guys are going to do these for like 70 to 80 bucks, right? So I'm not too far off from where I am. I do give my neighbors a better deal. I do. I'm not going to say which neighbors, but I give them a better deal. Anyway, so that's just an extreme example. But if I wanted to just basically not have to use my truck anymore and just operate out of my garage, I could probably pick all these yards up for 60 bucks, maybe 50 bucks, or a good majority of them. But I don't want to. Even though they're in my neighborhood, I can drive half a mile over there and do a $99 yard. I'm fine with that, okay? Having 3 of these yards in a row, or 4 or 5, I've had to where I've got multiples in a row. It's nice. But I have to look at my time, and what is that worth? How much driving am I spending in the truck, especially if you got an employee? Route density is your friend, because you're paying them to sit in the truck, which you don't want. You want to pay them to cut the grass. So I think the whole takeaway here is to not get so fixated on my specific price. I do have a high minimum. Yes, if I had a lower minimum, I would get more estimates approved, but I don't want that. at this point right now, like I said, I'm going to be solo at the end of this season and going into the next season. I'm in profit mode. I do not want, and I'm going to show you guys, I'll do another video about how I track my efficiency. I use Excel spreadsheet, and it's really neat. And that's how I determine who stays and who goes. So I will just go and look at the bottom. I'm gonna look at the bottom 20% of my customers, and I'm gonna have to raise the prices. The reason is I'm gonna have to cut some customers, so I will let them cut themselves, right? I want to be in the top 3 to 5% of my market. I don't want to be below that. So I don't even do any advertising anymore, which saves a lot of money. I am still striving to do some things that will be more efficient, right? You can't ever stop being efficient. And when you're more efficient and it takes you less time to do the yard, that over the course of a week, maybe you can put another yard or two in there, or you just have more time for yourself. I don't want to work more. I actually want to work less, right? I'm going to be 59 years old here very soon, and there's other things I like to do besides I love cutting grass, but there are other things I would like to do in addition to doing this. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. Clay, he brought up some great points, and I like his model for what he's doing, because he's got a lot of, I think he said he's got 270 accounts, something like that. He's got a lot of accounts. He's got a lot more than I do. But there's absolutely no way I could service all those. And also keep in mind, this is the other point. Keep in mind that this is bi-weekly. This is not weekly accounts. This area weekly is super rare, and it's just not a thing. Like if you're in Florida and you have to cut the grass every week, you're not getting $89 a pop. I guarantee, unless it's a really big yard. But these yards are, there's a lot of trimming, there's a lot of stuff, there's edging. Almost everybody has sidewalks, and there's a lot of edging and trimming that you have to do every single time. People got beds and borders, and it's just, these aren't super hard yards, but you're looking at spending 30 to 45 minutes on each yard. So I don't think it's like a per hour thing that it's out of line. But anyway, you've got to test. Go back and look at that video I did about how to get max profit and how to test to find out where you are in your market and see where you want to be. I think that's the main takeaway. But yeah, I appreciate Clay explaining his kind of his thought process and how he does his pricing and his minimums and all that. And yeah, my advice to him would be to do a little bit of testing, right? And see, go up a little bit and see where, because I think he does really good work, and I think he could command a higher price. And not, if you can put more money in the bank at the end of the week, that's the main key. Then, and raise your prices and do a little less work. And that's basically what we're here to do, right? So I'm not trying to, there's plenty of yards I've done before where I almost lost money on. But yeah, just test and see where you're at in your market. And I think that will, and don't get so focused on how much my minimum is, or if you may not even want a minimum. But that's just what works for me. I've kind of honed this and found out what works good in this area. And if you're in this area and you want some advice, because that will be more applicable to you, reach out to me. I'll help anybody, or if you're in a different part of the country and you're having problems maybe figuring out what to do the next step, I'm going to do a video hopefully soon about pricing if you already are established. Like you got a full schedule and you want to just become more profitable. So anyway, guys, thank you very much. I got to get rolling. We're starting to get, look at that sky, man. This is what Atlanta's known for. Just absolutely beautiful out here. All right, I've talked enough. I will see you guys on the next video.